The Writers Guild and Hollywood studios reached a tentative deal to end the strike. And joining us right now to talk about what it means for the media stocks is Bob O'Donnell, TECHnalysis Research President and Chief Analyst. So, Bob, let's talk about this. The strike is over. They're going to be paying more, but they get the content back. How's this wash out?
Well, you know, we got to think long-term and short-term, Betty. I mean, obviously, they haven't had to pay these production costs for a long time. So obviously that's been helping the bottom line for a number of stocks. And so there was some reaction in the market yesterday when all of a sudden people realized, oh, they're going to have to start paying again. But look, long-term, it's a hit-based business, you know, like the music business. You've got to have new content. You've got to have fresh stuff. So it needs to happen. Of course, actors still have to come together too. Let's not forget that before any of this happens. But at the end of the day, the other thing is, you know, it's very interesting because we're in this golden age of television. A lot of people talk about this, right? There are more shows now that we can watch than ever before. And in a weird and interesting way, it's the fact of the matter is there's a bunch of people I've talked to, I'm sure friends, relatives, what have you, they're like, you know what? I could actually kind of catch up on some of these series that I wanted to watch before that I couldn't before. And that highlights the fact that really at the end of the day, as we think longer term on these media companies, it's about leveraging the library. And you've got companies with different size libraries that can leverage it in different ways. They've got some oldies but goodies that last forever. They've got the things that people want to watch all the time. And all these companies, of course, have been jockeying for years to get the access to the rights and the content they want to have. But they've got to refresh it. The question is, given how much they currently have, do they need it to refresh it as much? That is, do they need as much new content as they've been creating? And perhaps not. And perhaps this strike...
Yeah, but Bob, that's just an issue of you can only be as smart as your dumbest competitor. If your dumbest competitor or your richest competitor, in the case of Netflix, is kicking out lots and lots and lots of hits, you've got to keep up with the Joneses when it comes to that. So we're probably going to see that happen again. Is there anything in this contract that makes it less competitive, though, for streaming? Because it's a business that, for most of these guys, has not turned into massive profits, or in some cases, any profits. It's a losing expenditure for most of them. Is there anything in this contract that is going to make it tougher for those streaming services to get to profitability? I mean, they're talking about increased royalties. Probably, we haven't seen everything, but we've heard a lot about what's probably in this. Increased transparency with knowing what's a hit in the digital world and being able to pay for it. Does that give away the keys to the kingdom, or is this okay because this is, you know, what we knew was going to happen? They were going to get some higher payments. They were going to get some guarantees about writers in the writing room. They were going to get transparency and get royalties back in this new digital world.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they are. All of those things are absolutely true, right? All of those things are going to be impacting them because the fact of the matter is, they are going to get, the writers are going to be getting more for streaming. They're going to be more aware of those hits, exactly as you pointed out. So that is going to be a long-term challenge for them. So there is, look, the profitability challenges for streaming aren't going to go away. And if anything, as I said, in the near term, you've got these hits that these companies are going to take. So they're still going to have to figure out longer term, how can they leverage these things into other areas? And again, this is where you think, when I was talking about the library, but in addition to the library, it's other types of content that could be leveraged from this, from the video games to obviously parks in certain cases. What are the things they can do to leverage these things? Because for pure streaming purposes, it's continuing to be a bloodbath, and it's not going to change out there. So, I mean, you're right. Obviously, Netflix is going to keep cranking out content, and that's going to challenge the rest of them to do that. So they're going to have to get smarter about how they can leverage this content, the library across the board. That's the only way they're going to figure this out, because there are no magical hits here. I mean, excuse me, magical bullets that are going to solve this problem because of exactly the issues you described.